Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of the Compassion Enablers podcast. This is the place where you learn practical tools, tips, and tricks because you're either having a hard time dealing with yourself as you're pushing to get better at serving others. I'm your lead host, Fernando Academia of TLDR Digital Marketing. I'm on a mission to introduce or reintroduce compassion for yourself and for others, helping you succeed with your mission in life as you help others to do the same. And for today's episode, we'll talk about coaching as a mission to help other people reach their life goals. Our guest is a motivational speaker, author, entrepreneur, mentor, a certified training developer, and a leadership expert with over 25 years of knowledge and experience leading others to personal and professional success. I met Terry a few months ago inside Evan Carmichael's book club, and I have connected with him and the rest of the Believe Nation ever since. Terry has helped me feel more comfortable speaking in front of the camera and convinced me to not mind what possible judgments ahead other people might see, and even before introducing myself. And I think we'll learn more about this in a while. My dear friends, please help me welcome our guest for today, Terry Wade Thompson.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hi Terry, how are you today?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I just want to say up front, that was an amazing intro. I love the intro, love your energy, and I just want to personally thank you for allowing me the opportunity to talk with you and be a guest on your show, man.
My pleasure. The pleasure is mine, really, Terry, and I'm really honored you're here. Of course, we've met in Evan Carmichael's book club, but I think you were there not just because of the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I connected with Evan about 2 years ago, and it's been a process. It's been really a journey, and it all started right there with the Built to Serve book right here behind me. So I got the book, I was always familiar with Evan's work on YouTube and everything, but to be able to be a part of what he's really doing, be a part of his inner circle, it really escalated once I got the book. I got into the book club, I got into his Brandlytics, I got into Movement Makers. And that ultimately led to me now, I'm on Evan's team and I'm managing some of his stuff, working directly with him. So I'm managing his clubhouse, his Instagram automation, but it all started right there with that one book, Built to Serve, because I'm built to serve. I showed that, proved that, continuously worked at that. And now I'm working directly with Evan.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Before meeting that book, I was a bit in a crossroad where to go. I was about to resign at my current work, but I was also doing my agency. There were a lot of confusion within me. I haven't really defined the who that I had to define first. But again, that's for another topic. Today, Terry, of course, to start with, I'm sure some people are curious about this. Can you share with us what is it that you do as a coach?
So it really comes down to confidence. It really does. So when I'm coaching, teaching, training, mentoring, whatever label that we want to put on it, here's the thing that I really want to instill within people. You have knowledge and you have skills that are already deep inside you. It's my job as a coach to bring those to the front, because as a coach, I see things that you don't see. And then I highlight those positive things, give you that courage, give you that confidence. So that way you can take action. Here's the deal. As a coach, and I'm providing that mentorship, that guidance, that vision, okay, I'm right there with you, holding your hand, making sure that you're taking action every day. And when you take action, you will achieve some type of a result. I always tell everybody, Don't worry about the results, whether those results are big, whether they're small, whether they're positive, whether they're negative. They are, in fact, a result. So, as a coach, that's my job to really be able to see that, see the things that you don't see, highlight those things, hold your hand along the way, and be not only your coach, not only your mentor, but a person who celebrates you, celebrate your wins, your successes, your victories. And I believe that that's really important as a coach.
That's awesome, Terry. And I really didn't know much about coaching until I've been. I mean, I
Mm.
didn't know really much about coaching until I needed it, and
Uh,
it's very much really helpful that it kept me at the right track because I don't really know much about. I discovered I didn't really know much about myself, but also someone
mhm.
is telling me about my blind spots. It's really
Mm.
helpful. Let's unpack that for a bit, Terry. Of course, with coaching, there are a lot of niches and communities that we intend to serve. With
Mhm.
your coaching service, who do you intend? Who are you currently targeting at serving?
So there's three targets. I have three targets. So I have authors, I have entrepreneurs, and then I just have anybody with a story to tell because we all have stories to tell. Like you see on my shirt right here, Unbreakable. So that's a part of the Unbreakable Stories, and that's where everybody falls into play. Okay, so authors. So I work with authors, and my goal with working with authors is that okay, if you're an author and you're struggling to make sales, you're struggling to gain visibility, you're struggling to write your book, you're struggling to create social media, all these different things that can be completely overwhelming as an author because most of the authors that I work with, here's what they want to do. They really want to write their book and then get it out there, and I want to sell books. Here's the thing that I discovered years ago. So when I wrote my first book, I wrote my first book many years ago, but I didn't publish it until 2013. That was when I published my very first book. And I was overwhelmed. I was like, okay, I'm going to get it out there. Okay, it's on Amazon. Now what? I have to promote it. Okay, well, what are all the sites? What are all the promotion services? I looked at it and I saw the cost that was associated with a lot of that. So I was like, okay, I could pay these people or I could just build my own platform. So I built my own platforms. I'm also a web designer. So I built websites, built my own marketing agency, got the word out there, started working with other authors, started networking with other authors, started creating graphics and websites for other authors. And that ultimately led to me really doing what I do within the author world. So it started with writing blogs, then it went to books, and then it went to working with authors to help them sell more books, create graphics, create their videos, create their websites, build copywriting scripts. I also work with entrepreneurs teaching copywriting, teaching, how to sell stuff, how to be more vocal, how to create social media. So once again, it's using my knowledge, my skills, and my experience to really work with you to gain visibility, to do what it is that you want to do, because sometimes we have an idea and we don't really know how to take action on it. And once again, that's where someone like myself comes into play. I
Mhm.
can work with you, listen to you, hear what your ideas are, and then, like you said earlier, fill in that gap, bridge that gap between where you are and where you want to go. And that's why it's important. Now, here's the thing with working with everybody. Working with everybody in Unbreakable Stories, that's where it gets kind of interesting because we all have stories to tell of struggle, of hardship, of stress, of anxiety, the things that we do not believe in, but we took action on it, achieved success. And it's from those examples that we can bridge that gap and show others that if it's possible for you, it's possible for somebody else. And that's the power of stories.
Right. I very much agree. Especially nowadays, people are more. I mean, people relate better with stories than with scripts, and so
Mm,
having people hear the stories of success is not just
mhm,
inspiring, but also it contextualizes the steps that they did to achieve that
mhm,
kind of success, and so that's why it's really the goal of this podcast is to get those stories out so people can
mhm,
understand that somewhere somehow we started as say not professional as we are now, but there are a lot of things happening at the back of our heads, and I'll be asking some of that question later. So,
Mhm.
uh, of course, you've been in this business for quite a while. What what are the telltale signs that authors or entrepreneurs would probably need your service?
Here's the deal. Oftentimes, as people, I'm just going to say people in general, we hit roadblocks within life. Sometimes we don't really see those things because we have those blinders on. Now, those blinders could be anything. It could be limiting beliefs. It could be, it's not possible for me. It could be, I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the skills. So if you're an author, if you're an entrepreneur, and you are hitting those roadblocks, if you're struggling to make those sales, if you're struggling to gain visibility on social media, if you're struggling to create graphics because you're not technically savvy, and technology is increasing all the time, so you may not be technically savvy. You might not know all the software, all the tools, all of the connections, all the resources. So I always tell everybody, if you want to achieve success within life, you must adhere to the five rights. Now, the five rights are be at the right place, at the right time, with the right information, the right resources, the right attitude, and the right action. And sometimes when you're struggling or you don't know where to go next, you might be struggling with one of those five rights. And that's where I come into play, and that I help you discover what it is that you might be missing within those five rights, because that's my framework for everything. I look at the five rights. If there's something that I want to achieve, or I want to coach someone, or teach someone, or train someone, I start with the five rights and then I bridge the gaps from there.
That's already revealing the secret, Terry. uh, and of course, usually your clients would have a lot of questions, uh,
Uh-huh.
es- especially those who are having a coach for the first time. What would be the top three questions they would usually ask you first?
You talking about the questions that like someone would ask me?
Uh, like if I'm a prospective client, what do I
Okay.
usually ask you as a coach?
Hmm. Usually it's more of a conversation. So when I am working with someone, there's really never, I have not picked up on any like, okay, here's the most common questions. It's really more of a conversation because I like to be approachable. I like to be personable,
Mhm.
and I just have not really clearly defined it down to like, okay, here's the things that everybody is struggling with. But I guess I've picked up on, so when I'm working with authors, the biggest thing is that they don't want to do marketing.
Mhm.
And that I would say is probably the biggest question. How do I reach more people? I would say that's probably the biggest thing within the author world anyway, is how do I reach more people? And then when I go look at their social media, there's nothing there. They're not even promoting their books. They're not trying to even say, hey, I'm an author. They got pictures of like their house, flowers, a dog, or something like that. And I was like, well, where's your book? Where's your book? You got to be your biggest fan. So when I'm working for authors, I always ask them, I was like, why are you not your biggest fan? You have to be your biggest fan. And I'm not talking about it from an egotistical standpoint. It's like, hey, my book is the best book out there within the world, and everybody must have it. Go buy this now. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see authors making is buy my book, buy my stuff, buy. And I see that even within the entrepreneur world as well too. So I would say that probably the next one would be, why am I not making sales? I've done this, I've done that, I've taken action. What am I doing wrong? So I would say, what am I doing wrong is a big question. And usually when I dive deep into serving my customers, my clients, the first thing, the number one thing that I do is called a SWOT analysis. That's SWOT. It's a SWOT analysis. I will look for their strengths. I will look for their weaknesses. I will look for their opportunities, and I will look for their threats. That's a SWOT analysis. So when I'm working with them, because oftentimes my clients don't realize they have strengths, they don't realize that they have weaknesses, they don't realize what are the other opportunities that are out there, and then they don't realize that there's also threats. So to kind of dive a little bit into that strength. So when I'm talking to you, when I'm looking for your strengths, I'm looking for the things that you're doing really well. You communicate effectively. You have a strong voice. You have a good visual presence. Love your background. I'm looking for those strengths. I'm highlighting that. I'm looking for the weaknesses. So as an author, sometimes you write incorrectly. Your social media is off. You're not posting enough. You're not your biggest fan. When you do speak, you're saying you're stumbling all over everything sometimes. So I'm looking for those weaknesses, not necessarily highlighting them from a standpoint of that's a weakness or you suck or something like that. That's not what I want to do. I'm highlighting it, giving it tactical advice on how to improve that, and then sitting back and watching them, achieve success with that result that I talked about earlier, and then modify, tweak, or change again. When I'm looking for opportunities, it's what are the opportunities out there right now. I'll give you an example. On Instagram right now, the big opportunity on Instagram is Reels. So if you want to gain visibility, you want to increase views, you want to increase awareness, do Reels. Just get on you pull out your camera, say, hey, my name is Terry, and I want you to have a great day. Post it as a reel. And then put some hashtags on there. So Reels right now. So I'm looking for those opportunities. Then I'm looking for threats. Now, what do I mean by threats? As an author, one of the big threats that you can have is bad reviews. That's a really big one for a lot of the authors, and they tend to tell me, how can I get more reviews? Well, the big thing you can do is ask for reviews. Now on Amazon, you don't always really know who's buying your book, but if you have that inner circle, you have that readers group, you can ask for reviews. Hey, review my book. Or ask for friends and family. Hey, can you give me a testimonial? Can you give me a review? And then I put that on the website. So I've done that with my websites. And, so bad reviews could be a threat, but an opportunity to counterbalance that would be put reviews right there on your website. So once again, that's kind of how I dive deep within, at least authors anyway, that's how I dive deep. And then I take them through my AEIOU framework, which is how to gain more visibility. And we can talk about that at another time. That's a long conversation. But I do have some frameworks that will help authors gain visibility, sell more books, be more confident, get out there. And I think those are the important questions. So I think that might have been 2 questions I answered, but those are the first 2 that come to mind.
Right, and that's already sharing the secrets. So for those who are watching,
I don't mind sharing the secrets, because you know why? There's a lot more to it than that. So I'm just scratching the surface. So here's the thing. What might be a big secret for one person is just scratching the surface for another. So for me, that's just scratching the surface, because trust me, when I tell you that I dive way deeper than what I just shared with you.
Awesome. For those who are watching, we're not yet halfway through our podcast and you've already got that much value. Thank you very much. I mean, you're welcome, guys. So we've covered pretty much a lot of things already. I'll give you about 30 seconds or 1 minute for a short breather, just so you can catch up with your breath, but also for some announcement from our friends. So and for our announcement, my good friend Rory Vaden is a New York Times best-selling author and Hall of Fame speaker, and he and his wife founded a company called Brand Builders Group. And they have put together a huge online summit where they are interviewing some of the most influential personal brands in the world on their never-before shared secrets of how they became who they are today. Check out tldrcorp.com/brand summit for more details. This is a chance to learn for free from people like Les Brown, Gretchen Rubin, Leave This House, Sally Hogshead, Michael Hyatt, Dennis Rodman, Kevin Harrington, Jay Baer, Donald Miller, and Ed Tate. Most of them are New York Times best-selling author, and perhaps I'm not sure if Terry might have met them before, or Terry might be your gateway to becoming one of them. And again, the link is tldrcorp.com/brand summit. And if you are someone who is looking to create any type of influence, you have to check this out. Again, it is totally free, and you are learning from the masters who have actually built multiple six-figure business out of their personal brand. Again, the link is tldrcorp.com/brand summit. And we're
That was
back.
a that was a great looking group of people, by the way.
Yeah, I recently joined their group, the Brand Builders Group, for my
Hmm.
agency, and it somewhat strengthens the messaging of my agency. But the network there is really helpful in making my brand known a bit more. I'm a digital marketer by trade as well, so that's why I think a lot of things we were talking about are within our expertise. So
Hmm.
yeah, going back to your story, I've read your website a few times already, and you said you really had an extensive list of experiences there.
Hmm.
How long have you been doing coaching for?
So I've been a leader. Here's how I shape that or how I frame that. I look at it as leadership because I strongly. So John Maxwell was my original mentor. So I started reading John Maxwell books. I want to say 30 years ago, and I'll never forget the most important thing that I ever read from John Maxwell, and that was if you want to change your life, change your way of thinking, because by changing your way of thinking, you can change your way of life. Now, I served in the military for 24 years, so that was my original way in which I was serving, in which I was leading others to personal and professional success, because leading soldiers in a couple of different environments to include being deployed. So I had several deployments as well too. Been to Iraq, been to Afghanistan, Kuwait. I mean, I could go on down the line of all the places that I've been to, but leading soldiers, it all starts with leading myself, because I strongly believe that if you want to lead others, you must first lead yourself. And when you lead yourself and you display that every day, because every day as a leader, you are on display. You are showing people exactly who you are, what you are, why you are. And I see it all too often. I see leaders hiding behind their offices, hiding behind their desks, hiding behind their positions instead of being out front, leading their people, being that example, knowing that example, doing that example so that others can emulate, others can follow, others can be inspired to take action the same way that you did. So when I look at it as leadership. And unfortunately, nowadays, within the social media world, within the way that we are celebrating, I don't want to really use the word millennials here, but the way that we are celebrating what people are doing out there, it has turned more into likership versus leadership. And I believe that that's a bigger conversation. And I've always defaulted back to leadership. To me, leadership is the most important thing. If you want to build influence and you want to have impact, it all starts with leadership.
That's very true. Especially nowadays, there are a lot more opportunities to become entrepreneurs. And being entrepreneurs, the structure of your business, the pace, and the direction really depends on how you lead yourself to wake up every
Mm.
day. And that's very much, for me, it was when I felt things weren't structured enough that I started to get confused,
Mm-hmm.
and that affected my life as well. And
You talk about structure, and once again, that's my military background right there. Being in the military, trust me,
right,
there's a lot of structure within the military. There's definitely rules, regulations, frameworks, all kinds of things within the military. So having that background, here was the struggle for me within that, and that was taking something that was a military framework that worked well in that environment and translate that into a civilian framework or idea. Because here's the thing: if I explain something to you in a military way, it might not resonate. It might not connect. It might not make sense, because if you don't understand that, it would totally miss its mark. So for me, that balance, that middle was how can I take that and turn it into that? And once again, that's where that knowledge, that skills, that experience comes into play.
Right. So speaking of experience, did you go to coaching because of your military background, or was there a story behind why you are doing what you do now?
Lots of schools, lots of training, lots of certifications. Yes. So I do have a business degree. I do have multiple certifications. I mean, I can go on down the line of all certifications to include Lean Six Sigma, Agile Management, Human Resources Management. I'm a certified Master Resilience Trainer, so I teach people how to be resilient. And I mean, once again, I could go, it'd be a long conversation about how many certifications and how many courses and trainings that I went to. Now, here's the thing. So now I'm able to take charge of what I want to learn. And I think that's important because the future of education is happening right now. It's changing right before our eyes, especially with, online education. When you have the ability to invest in yourself and invest in your own education, do that. I highly recommend that you do that because I've learned more from people like Evan Carmichael, David Meltzer, Ed Milet. I mean, I could go on down the list of all the great entrepreneurs that I've worked with and worked for and learned from. Because, and Fernando, I can learn from you. We are all people. We all have that knowledge, that skills, those things. And when you take time to listen, you can take time to learn. And when you take that time to learn, you can take that time to teach others. I always tell people, each one reach one, each one teach one. And it all starts right there with you. You could be an agent of change, but you must be willing to change yourself before you can change others.
Right. I definitely agree. Especially the best way to help other people, or I mean, the best person to help the people we once were is us who have been, or who have somehow overcame the
Mhm.
struggles that the previous us are still going through. I'm not sure if that came across clear, but the
Help the
best
person
person.
that you were 5 years ago. So Evan Carmichael always talks about if you want to create content, if you want to create content that serves you from 5 years ago. Take what you have now, the knowledge, the skills, the experience that you have now, and teach the Fernando from 5 years ago.
There you go, guys. There's another nugget here that you should have picked up. Again, we were talking about the insider group of the Built to Serve book. It, other than reading the book, there's a support group with it, and maybe I'll link it in the description below. But of course, aside from that, I'm really curious about Unbreakable Stories here. Uh, I've been seeing that shirt for a while now, and of course, I know a bit of the story behind it. So,
Mhm.
would you mind telling us what Unbreakable Stories is?
Yeah, sure. So my partner, her name is Bonnie, and she is the creator of the Unbreakable T-shirt. She designed an amazing T-shirt, by the way. I love it. I have a few of them myself. Very comfortable shirts. If you want a really comfortable shirt that you can wear, I definitely recommend getting the shirt. But here's the story behind it. So Bonnie created this shirt, and the Unbreakable campaign, my Unbreakable Story campaign. And here's really the big message that goes behind that. You have a story to tell that could motivate, encourage, inspire, and empower others from your struggles, your hardship, the things that you face within life on your way to success. And it is from that story that you can show others that if it's possible for you, it's possible for them. And the only way to do that is to share your unbreakable story. See, we are all unbreakable. You are unbreakable. I am unbreakable. And if you don't believe that yet, you just don't know that yet. Okay. And the best way you can do that is to get connected with us. We can give you those tips, those tools, those techniques. So right now, Bonnie and I are in the process of building the inner circle of Unbreakable Stories. So right now we have the shirt. That's the way to get that. That's the way to gain access. You can share your story, but we're building so much more behind that. We're building some confidence coaching. We're building an inner circle. We're building platforms to give people a voice because when you speak up, you can speak out. When you stand up, you can stand out. And that's the power of stories. It really is. So it really goes much deeper than that. And it can affect everyone. It can affect the world, honestly, through those stories because everybody has a story to tell.
And there you go, guys. Again, by story, Terry means both the good things that has happened to you, but
Mm,
also the difficult times. Because we
mm,
by now we are familiar with the saying, we can turn our pain into power, and that's one of
mm.
the ways we can do that by going to Unbreakable Stories. I'll put the links down in the description later. So some people are, I mean, this next question is specifically for me, but also for those who are not comfortable in front of the camera, because I
Mhm.
really have to let them know how you coach me out of my fear. So
Uh-huh.
some people are uncomfortable and not graceful in front of the camera. Have you ever encountered this before, and how did you overcome it, or how would you tell me to so I can overcome it? How would you coach me?
I'm still uncomfortable. Every day, I'm still uncomfortable. Check this out. Like 5 minutes before I got ready to get on here with you, I was listening to music, jumping up and down, getting myself excited, getting myself ready, kind of pacing back and forth, doing all those things to get myself excited and ready. Because you know what? I knew that I was about ready to come onto a show and give value, provide influence, give impact. And that right there excites me. You have to be excited about what it is that you're doing. Here's how I kind of relate that to. I relate that to inflection. So inflection is the rise and pitch and the rise and fall and the pitch and the tone of your voice. Let's say, for example, that I am talking to you and I get really super highly excited and I'm like that. I'm taking you on a journey. See, I made you smile right there. I'm taking you on a journey. I'm lifting your spirits up. In other words, I'm inflecting higher because what you or how you inflect is what you will reflect. Okay. And if I'm down here low, because you've heard me talk like this on the Zan the Man show, and when I go down here, I'm able to take your mood, I'm able to take your emotions down here. I'm able to calm you, I'm able to soothe you, I'm able to control your emotions through the sound of my voice. So here's the thing, even though, so I still get uncomfortable when I'm on camera. When I'm on camera, and that's the reason why I don't really care. When you don't care, who cares? I don't really care. That's the thing. So when I do go on camera, it's not a matter of how I look, what I say, how I say it, because if I overthink all of those things, I'm going to get inside of my head. And when I'm inside my head, I will not be able to get those things in there out because I'm too far right inside there. Now, although everything starts right there, you need to be able to get out of that so that you can get it out there. And the only way to do that, I mean, there's lots of tips, tools, techniques, and ways in which you can get outside of your head. But it all comes with competence. Competence equals confidence. Competence will give you the confidence. And when you have that knowledge, when you have that skills, when you have that experience, it becomes repetitive. It's a muscle. And when you strengthen that muscle through repetitive actions, you will develop all those knowledge, the skills, the experience to keep doing what it is that you're doing, even though I know that, okay, I'm about ready to be on camera. I'm about ready to go on stage. Whatever the case may be, you have to tell yourself one thing. And you know what that one thing is? It's not I'm nervous, because whatever you say after I am, you will believe. Now, here's the deal. When I'm about ready to go onto a show, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited. I'm like, yes, I'm about ready to go onto a show. Instead of saying, I'm nervous. I don't have what it takes. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the skills. I don't have the experience. I am an imposter. You know what? I am confident. I am comfortable. I have a message to tell. I have exactly what it takes that can motivate, inspire, encourage, and empower somebody else. And if I don't do this,
Mm-hmm.
who am I cheating out of that? Because think of it like this. Let me put it to you like this. If you don't win, Fernando, if you don't win, who loses? If you don't take action, who does not? Think about that opposite of those things. So the next time that you have that fear, the next time you have that doubt that I don't have what it takes, stand up inside yourself and say, stop. Just stop, interrupt your thought pattern very quickly, and just leap into action. And let those results speak for themselves, because a lot of people are tied to the results. Now, I'm about ready to flip the script on you here. A lot of people are tied to those results, and that's fantastic. I am more tied to the action than I am the result. Here's why. Results are results. Results can be positive. Results can be negative. Results can be big and they can be small. But if you get wrapped around the results instead of the action that you can continue to take to improve, to get better, you will never get better, because if you focused on the wrong thing, you will stop right in your tracks because you're focused on the wrong thing. So get focused on the action instead of the results. Respect the results, respect them, but figure out, okay, what went right? What went wrong? What needs improvement? How can I modify, tweak, or change that? Try something, try a different action, get a result, and repeat that process. And keep in mind, it is a process. So whether I'm on camera, whether I'm on stage, whether I'm in a book, whether I'm in audio, whether I'm in video, it doesn't matter, because you know what? I am crystal clear on my message. I am crystal clear on what it is that I know and the value that I bring, and it's my job to deliver it. It's your job to receive it and interpret it how it fits you and your life and what you want to achieve, and take action on what works best for you. And those are things that I can't control, but I can influence it. And that's kind of how I approach that.
Yeah, even me listening live, uh, I'm really taking mental notes and keying some notes here on my notepad. So yeah, and that's a very good tip. I can make that a short clip and I can share them to those who need it. I just have one or two more questions that's a bit deeper than the usual. I think
I get excited, man.
I really think I maybe I need to hear this, or some people might need to hear this. Knowing that you're there at the success level you have now, do you still have some kind of self-talk going on in your head, or how does that
Ooh.
look like? How did it look like? How is it now? What's going on in there, as uh, considering you're here in the success level that you're at now?
I like that. That is a fantastic question, by the way. And a lot of people are not willing to go that deep. And that's the reason why they don't achieve success, is because you're only looking on the surface and you're not willing to go deep. Here's the thing, right there, your mind is a very deep well. It's a very deep well, and there's a lot of things in there that you can get tripped up on. There's a lot of things that are in there that you can deliver. Here's the thing, when it comes down to self-talk, I do it every day. I self-talk, I self-argue, I self everything, because everything is within myself. It is. And I must get past the negativity so that I can get to the positivity. That's the thing. And I have those conversations, I have those arguments, I have those struggles. I walk my way through all of the things. Like I said earlier, I do that SWOT analysis. What are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And when I'm struggling with something, believe me when I tell you that I'm right up in there. I'm all up in that head right there. And I'm talking and I'm arguing and I'm complaining. And I'm like all these different things. But it's because of that. And I'm willing to dive deep, but I'm not willing to stay there. I'm not willing to stay there, but I have to go there in order to extract some of that stuff out. I have to go there to get some of that gold, to get the value. And I have to work my way through some of the things that I don't understand, because when I get inside my head, it's oftentimes because I don't understand something. I don't believe something. I'm tripped over on something. I might not have all the knowledge and skills. I might not have everything together, but I must be willing to dive deep right there within that mind, so that I can figure those things out. And sometimes that's asking those hard questions, asking those tough questions. Well, why am I feeling this way? Why is it that I don't believe? Why is it that, whatever, insert there, whatever works for you. But more importantly, You must get to the what can I do to solve that, to achieve that, because so many people get caught up into the why that they never really get to the what. And that's really kind of it for me is okay, I have a roadblock, I have a struggle, I have something that I just don't understand. Why is it that I don't understand this? Do I just not have the knowledge, the skills, the people, the resources, the whatever it may be? And then this is where it is also important that how. Well, how can I get the resources? How can I make the time for this? How can I learn this new skill? And when I piece all that together and take action, it goes back into that framework that I was talking about of achieving a result, modified, what went right, what went wrong, what needs improvement, how can I modify, tweak, or change, and then continue taking action. And I'm in my head every day. I mean, not a day goes by that I don't spend at least an hour or 2 hours, deep within inside there. But I also take time to think, to intentionally think, not necessarily just argue with myself or talk to myself, but to think and write down notes and take things in like ideas and thoughts and don't judge them. That's a big thing. Don't judge those things. Respect them, write them down, take them as notes, and then figure out some type of a plan on how you can bring those thoughts, those ideas, those notes to life.
All right. So, guys, we are having a coaching session here. uh, as we are listening to Terry, I'm being coached. And there are a lot of things that you can really learn from that very extensive explanation from Terry there. So, uh, I think that's how deep we can get, at least in this podcast. We're nearing our 45-minute mark. So, we'll be wrapping up. For those who would want to ask questions, keep them coming. And let's see the chat overlay here. So some are saying hello to Terry. Uh, and Glenn Charles is keeping us in the background while driving. And he says hi as well. Uh, Jamie says hi and says, wow, yeah, very jam-packed session that we have here. And there are some of my friends pinging me here as well. So I think that's the most of the question that we would like to ask. Uh, Before we end, can you please let us know where can the people watching this know more about you and reach you?
Absolutely. So the best way to get a hold of me is directly on my website, which is terrywadethompson.com. There you will see my books, my training programs, things that I have in the works. So once again, that's terrywadethompson.com. I have a couple of free books for you, by the way. So if you head on over there, if you want to learn some tips, tools, techniques on how to have a great day, I have a free book there called How to Have a Great Day. And you will learn some techniques on how to have a great day. And it really comes down to 10 action items that I really believe that if you take action on those things, you will have what it takes to have a great day. If you're into leadership, you're trying to gain new leadership skills, or you just want to learn something new, I have a book called Leadership Solved absolutely for free. Also, on top of that, if you follow, I have my social media there as well too. And here's an extra bonus for you. If you head over to my Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, that's Terry Wade Thompson also over on Instagram, I have some free books for you there as well too. If you're an author, all you have to do is follow me on Instagram, DM me the word secrets, and you can get my book Promotion Secrets Every Author Must Know, absolutely for free. So DM me the word on Instagram, secrets, and you will get instant access to Book Promotion Secrets Every Author Must Know. So on my website there, you'll see that I do have not only my books, but I have a couple of training programs. So if you're an author, I have my training program called Self-Made Author. If you are struggling with planning and you're looking at planning, I also have my Bottom Line Upfront Planner. So here's the physical copy of it that I have right here within my hand. But I also have a digital copy of it right there as well too, bluffplanner.com. And my planner is also available on Amazon. My books are available on Amazon. But once again, the best way to connect with me, my website, terrywadethompson.com. Oh, I also have Unbreakable Stories on there as well too. So if you want to share your story, you want to get one of these, an Unbreakable t-shirt, head on over to my website, terrywadethompson.com. You'll see there, which is unbreakablestories.com. Get you a t-shirt, share your story, get connected with us, and motivate, inspire, encourage, and empower somebody with your story.
Awesome. I also place his links there on the screen. But also, I'll be mentioning them at the description so you can get a hold of this amazing merch, and of course, join the Unbreakable Stories community. There's a question here from Jamie Zeris. What would you advise to people who have gone through the process, but the result was not as expected? There's a continuation for that. For example, I've talked to myself or psyched myself up, delivered my message right, but the result wasn't good as expected.
Okay, awesome. So here's what I call the after action review process. So it's the acronym for that is AAR. So it's after action review. Anytime that you take an action, you're going to get a result. Whether those results are big, whether they're small, whether they're positive, whether they're negative. Keep in mind, they are, in fact, a result. And oftentimes, when we take action on the things that we're trying to achieve success on, we do not always achieve the results that we want. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. When things don't go as well or as desired, here's how you do that. Here's the framework for the AAR. One, you clearly identify what was supposed to happen. This was supposed to happen. Then you go into step two, which is what did happen. This is what did happen. So when you clearly identify what was supposed to happen, what did happen, you move into the next steps. What went right? You want to make sure that you pay tribute to what went right. That way you can take that knowledge, that skills, those things that achieve success and put them back in your toolkit because they worked. They went right. Then you want to look at the opposite end of that. What went wrong? Now, you don't want to get bent out of shape of, okay, well, this went wrong. I suck. All these limiting beliefs and limiting factors. You respect that. This is what went wrong. Those are the things that you need to work on. Those are the things that you need to modify, tweak, change. And then what you want to do is come back into the middle, take action again, and get a new result. Whatever that result is, it doesn't matter. Don't get tied, oh, I suck and all this and all that. Just keep in mind the actions that you can continue to take. All right. And then repeat that framework. What was supposed to happen? What did happen? What went right? What went wrong? What needs improvement? How can I modify, tweak, or change? Continue taking action and then repeat that process. So that's what I call the after action review framework, the AER process. And anytime that I take action, anytime that I'm trying to do something, I use that framework to help me continue taking action, to get different results, to improve, to get better. So that works for me. I hope it works for you. And the only way to know is to try that out and get a result.
There you go. A very extensive answer there, Jamie. I hope that answered your question. I think that's all the questions for now. Again, before we end, uh, guys, next week we will be talking about business consulting, and we have another awesome guest who will join us and teach us that and more. So if you own a business and you feel you're not seeing the results that you want, tune in to the next podcast this coming week. And for the links of Terry's his social media accounts, his website, and the website of Unbreakable Stories, they will be mentioned in the description below. If they are not affiliate links, so feel free to purchase there. There are no add-ons. That you will be directed straight to their website. And anything else? Any parting words or any words of wisdom you would want to leave to our audiences before we part ways?
Sure, absolutely. So here's the thing. Every day is an opportunity, but you must believe in yourself. You must take action each and every day. And no matter what that result is, like I explained here within the video, just continue to figure out what it is that went right, what went wrong, modify, tweak, or change, continue taking action. I've discovered that no matter what it is that you do, people will always judge you from a place of their weakness when they do not understand your strength. If you're willing to put yourself out there every single day, if you're willing to take action, if you are willing to do the things that you know deep within your heart that you were brought here for, that you were built to serve, it doesn't really matter what other people think. It really does not, because people will always judge you from a place of their weakness when they do not understand your strength. That's my parting words.
All right. Thank you very much, Terry, and thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Again, for if you would want to learn more about Terry, I have his links below. Also, if you would want to learn how you can use micro videos to promote your consulting service or your business, reach out to me, and I'll give you a free consultation as well. Uh, the link to my consultation calendar is tldrcorp.com/free consultation call, and we'll help you out. And again, thank you very much, guys, for hopping in. We thank you and we appreciate you. I hope you've learned a lot of things from Terry, and you'll be, if you need more from Terry, he is live on Instagram almost daily, and there are a lot more you can learn from him there. And of course, with the other links that I've mentioned earlier. Again, thank you very much, guys, for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. See you next week, guys. See you next week. Bye bye.